Why, hello there. I see you're here for some more spooky, scary stories today. Well, I've got at least one for you, or so I hope. Um, as you can see, we're in another locale change. Hopefully, hopefully this will be nice with the fireplace and everything. But we're gonna read a story called The Brooding Star today. And if we have time, I was thinking we could either watch, or not watch, we could watch The Man in the Suit, or we could read some SCPs, or we could read any other creepypastas. We'll see. So, let's begin. I did not look at the author for this one. Let's take a peek at that real quick, because we definitely want to give credit to whoever wrote our story for the night. So this is The Brooding Star by Matthew Varney. And this one looks like another longer one. But I don't think it's going to be as long as last week. Thank goodness, because that one was really long. I couldn't even finish it in time. Let's get back to the beginning. Oh no, it's going the wrong way. There we go. I know how to scroll, I promise. Alright. The Brooding Star, Part 1. Who is he? My son inquired, pointing to the tall figure drawn upon the dusty, nearly crumbling page. As a reproduction of a reproduction of a reproduction, the history book could have easily been mistaken for the mad scribblings of troglodytes in their firelit caves. A great leader, I replied. Few remember his name anymore. Washington, I believe it was. Though it's quite likely I've been told many a falsehood by the ones who call themselves historians. I chuckled ruefully, as did my son. Tell me what a leader is, he said. Where I came from, it was not unusual for children to be demandingly curious. From what I've heard, leaders were people who created order out of chaos, I told him. Many had great visions for what the world could be like, or in Washington's case, what his country could be like. No doubt he's rolling in his grave now that everything he worked hard to instate has fallen to ruin. By now, my son had put the old book aside and was peering out the red-tinted window wistfully, his chin resting on his arms, which were, in turn, resting on the steel windowsill. And he said to me in a serious tone, I want to be a leader. It broke my heart to hear that he had developed an unattainable dream, a dream I would have to shoot down before long. Such was the treatment all dreams were met with in those times. But the sadness I felt then seems silly to me now that I wonder in vain what has become of his poor little soul. He could be anywhere, or nowhere. And it's likely I'll never know. By all that is holy, I only hope he's in a better place than I am now. According to the historians, there was a clear-cut and seemingly unbreakable force called natural law, governing my native planet in ancient times. A set of rules you could follow carefully in order to predict the behavior of things and get where you wanted to be. Of course, there was nothing of that sort to stabilize the era I grew up in. Life was a sick game of chance for us all. A game I wouldn't hesitate to call hellish if not for the fact that I'm now intimately familiar with the word's true meaning. I decided long ago that the only way to end the game would be to rid the cosmos of the Earth entirely, just as one might excise the malignant growth from an otherwise healthy individual. If there was no hope for us on the little white planet, we might as well bring some balance to the universe and cease to exist, I figured. This idea came to me in a most peculiar manner, worming its way into my consciousness as though it were the fey whisper of a shadowy muse. I hadn't the foggiest clue how said idea could be carried out, but I searched for one whenever opportune nights presented themselves, whenever the sun ceased to scatter its radiation, never knowing what I might find. If anything, each night lasted only as long as the Earth's prodigious rotational velocity would allow. I removed my son's evening ration from the icebox and served it to him on a sheet of cardboard, not telling him where the meat came from so he wouldn't be deterred from getting his nourishment. Unbeknownst to him, wild game of the sort found in olden tales had long since gone extinct, leaving only the frozen, emaciated corpses of our own kind to dine on when they turned up now and again. Much of my own childhood was spent consuming the wholesome reserves of beans and rice stockpiled in the bowels of our bunker. But upon parenthood, it became clear to me that my child would not be so fortunate. I'd be lying if I didn't regret bringing him into that broken world many a time. Hi, Derpy, it's good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. We're in a different locale. I hope this one's to your liking. I'm kind of liking the setup here, but I want to get everyone else's opinion too, see if they like it. I think this is the third place we've tried for these narrations. It does keep getting laggy on my screen also. I don't know if that's happening for you guys. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just on my end. Yeah, I think this scene is my favorite so far. A cozy fireplace library is a classic reading spot. That's exactly what I was thinking, and this world, I guess, was made for originally for someone else who was using it for telling bedtime stories. So, seems pretty apt that it should continue to do so. I don't know if that original person is still active, but at least the world lives on. Anyway, today we're reading a story called The Brooding Star, and I'm not really sure what to expect from it other than it was described as Lovecraftian. Sounds like we're in some sort of apocalyptic Earth. We were hearing about Washington as a sort of mythological figure, and it doesn't seem like leaders exist in this world anymore. And nor does food, really. Sounds like we make do on the frozen corpses of our predecessors. So, a pretty bleak outlook on the future, but, hopefully things will get better. I'm not expecting much since this is a horror story, though. Derpy, you're doing good. After 3 months of living here, you can finally access the garage and you can clear the basement. Finally space to move around. So, what was keeping you from accessing the garage? Right, I'll get started again while we wait for that. Sustenance was growing scarcer by the day, so I forwent my share that eve. Not that raw human heart sounded very appetizing, even in my desperate state. I would have roasted my son's ration for him if physics were cooperating that day, but alas, every attempt at striking a match, let alone igniting a bundle of tinder with one, resulted in a conflagration that lasted but a few milliseconds, expanding outward like a fireball and singeing the hairs on my hand before disappearing entirely. The elements, especially fire, seemed to take on different properties at different times, betraying nary a clear pattern in their fluctuations. This randomness decided the fates of men, and I feared it would soon decide my son's and my own for the worse before I got the chance to do what I was meant to do. Hi, Scarlet. Good to see you. Already told me may have to start Visage over for stream. Yeah, I heard you were wandering around a lot, and you mentioned the crutch being for chapter 3. So it just ended up being like a total bust for you. That's too bad. But did you miss something? Is that why you have to start over instead of just continuing from where you are? The sun began to race out of sight, heralding a new interval of darkness. It was time. I'll be back, I said to my son as I donned my gloves and boots and leather coat, pulled the fur-lined hood over my head, gathered a few miscellaneous implements, and equipped an old but still functional gas mask. I couldn't say when I would be back due to the unpredictable time currents. Whether I would be back at all was no sure thing either. But some things are better lied about when children are concerned. Derpy, the lock was busted, and it was a whole ordeal to get it fixed. Lock pickers and the landlord had to come and go multiple times because each group kept forgetting about something and oh no, kept pushing it back. That's awful. I hope you didn't have to spend too much money on it, because that, when it gets drawn out like that, it feels like, people can just keep charging you. So I hope you didn't have to spend too much. Scarlet, so it seems you need items you need items that aren't, that seems, I'm surprised they designed the game that way. Seems like it would be an easy enough thing to, miss something and then get stuck, and that's pretty great game breaking, it sounds like. A week with 2 accidental soft locks for you. Didn't see. Oh, sometimes we just have those bad luck weeks. I had a few days all at once where my power was just going out frequently, and I got so discouraged because, it's hard when it's things that aren't in your power that are causing you to have to end stream early or just get in your way. So I hope the next one goes better for you. Nerpy, The landlord covered it because it was busted. Oh, that's good. At least you didn't have to break the bank trying to get it fixed then. Scarlet, your power actually flickered during stream yesterday. Oh no. I gave the curse to both you and Derpy. My son didn't ask where I was going, for he knew better than to believe I had made up my mind. Plans change with the weather. Speaking of weather, I've always found it rather amusing that the term is said to have once encompassed so few variables. The temperature, the sun, the clouds, the winds, and a few other trifling things. Why, if the historian's words ring true at all, the ancients were a soft lot with no valid cause for worry. I've faced the intractable whims of a mad god and called them weather, while the history books detail parables about the melancholy nature of rain, which I hear was a phenomenon where tiny drops of pure crystalline water fell out of the sky. Sounds like a utopian dream to me, not melancholy in the least. Derpy, Swagnate's power went out during... Oh yeah, that's... Oh my gosh. Sorry. Tracking issue. Nate's power went out during one of the Phoenix Wright streams. True. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I did hear that. On any occasion, I would have given anything to have rain problems instead of time problems and physics problems. Not to mention problems of other planes of reality, which I now face head-on. Problems I could not label or name for the life of me, or shall I say for the death of me, as death has since usurped survival as my chiefest goal. There are dark things lurking in the blackness betwixt the celestial bodies, and I have seen them, experienced them, lost myself to them. Give me all your rainy days, O ancient ones, and I'll give you all of my demon-haunted nights. When I put my hand on the steel door handle and pressed firmly down, the pressure in the room changed, and a fierce wind howled through the newly opened gap. Before much of the enervating fumes from outside filled the room, I was on the other side, and the door was sealed shut again. Derpy, eldritch beings causing dimension bleed through. Kinda sounds like that's where we're at. Some sort of disaster happened that made the Earth we know a very different place than, what they're experiencing. The windows of our Spartan vault-like shelter were heavily tinted for a reason, to filter out the sun's torrid rays. As a side effect, the tinting prevented us from seeing the landscape as it truly was without wandering out of doors. Now that I was seeing it through my own eyes once again, and not through that blood-red filter without which we would be slowly irradiated to total disfigurement in the daylight minutes, I was simultaneously filled with awe and trepidation. There were massive, windswept dunes of snow heaped upon the horizon. Tall black towers protruded from many, blotting out dense clusters of stars with their staggering height. Scarlet, you're gonna kind of lurk, working on getting a few mods installed for Fallout 4 for Fallout Friday. We'll eventually restart New Vegas, but not this week. Sure, sounds good. I hope you enjoy the story while you're just lurking. And yeah, I hope you get all the mods you need for Fallout Friday. Sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. And then there was what was colloquially known as the Brooding star, a great violet light burning in the sky. The inclination to admire its ominous beauty was familiar to me, as was the converse instinct to avert my gaze and avoid being lured by some insidious trap. To me, it was now second nature to second guess everything. In the past, I had caught wind of too many horrid legends to be anything but cautious. But now I know from experience where those legends came from. Now I know that I wasn't nearly cautious enough. As always, I surveyed the land in search of a new opportunity to change things some way, somehow. It was not unusual for the various structures around me to shift positions overnight, or for new objects to come and go with the temporal tide. I noticed something conspicuous in the far, far distance, but before I wasted any time analyzing it, I withdrew my pocket watch and wound the timer so that it would alert me in 35 minutes, just a minute short of a full night's length. Then I raised my brass spyglass I had scavenged in my youth and strove to make out the dark, pointy thing resting in the valley between two knolls of snow. Okay, Shinigami, I'm pretty sure you're a bot, because that's the third time you've done that, and you haven't said anything else. So, I'm sorry, we're gonna get rid of you. Alright. Let's see, where were we? As always, oh, there we are. It was a pavilion, I realized. I had seen many of them before, as the historians would often appear in congregations of white tents, ever riding the river of time to hawk their wares, which were debatable curiosities at best, risible forgeries at worst. But this pavilion was black and solitary. The optimist in me was excited, for I was witnessing something of untold promise, while the pessimist in me knew how dangerously far away the tent was, and made my muscles stiffen, as if to prevent me from trudging after it. No amount of protection would save me from the radioactive light of day if I failed to return home in time. The sun, however hot its golden beams may have been, were never enough to thaw the planet. But make no mistake, they never failed to pierce leather and flesh and bone and bestow ungodly maladies upon anyone foolish enough to stand in their way. I have seen the results of such poisonings, and they were not pretty. Unless you're psychotic enough to find prettiness in the gradual necrosis of skin, disintegration of cartilage, and rotting of gray matter. Scarlet, Bethesda ignored the GOG version of Fallout 4 with the new content update, meaning updated mods don't... Oh no! Have to wait for Steam to reinstall that version. You just can't catch a break, Scarlet. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Staring pensively at the point of interest, I made what I now know to be the worst decision of my life. I began to march thither. By this time, the cold was already biting viciously at me, and soon a colossal gust threatened to topple me over, leading me to anchor myself in place by crouching for a time. And the filter of my gas mask did a fair enough job of keeping me alive, but the air still smelled faintly of ammonia and a number of other inhospitable chemicals. A headache ensued. The time currents, for one thing, were calm that night, as I discovered when I peeked at my pocket watch and noticed the hands shaking only slightly. I could have used the currents to my advantage had I known the secrets of their workings, but only the historians and their masters knew those. It was rumored that the Black Towers had something to do with it all, and that the historians' masters were in fact the very extraterrestrials responsible for the existence of the towers. But who could have known for sure but the historians and the Star Dwellers themselves? Inquisitive thoughts like these filled the time that elapsed between my outset from home and my arrival at the mysterious pavilion. The tent's canvas walls flapped in the wind as I approached it. Something about it filled me with dread now that I was able to observe it up close. Unnerved for reasons unknown, I would have turned around and fled right then and there. But curiosity and hope still burned inside me. Against my better judgment, I walked stealthily toward the entrance flap, swept it aside slowly, and beheld the uncanny presence within. Sitting on the rusty metal grid of a mattressless cot was a robed, hooded figure with his head in his hands, a figure I surmised to be male. The robe, being many sizes too large for the being, covered everything but his pallid hands. He didn't appear to be wearing a gas mask, and thus I was puzzled as how he managed to breathe the toxic atmosphere freely. More interesting than the weird being himself was the looking glass. Large and triangular, situated on an easel of sorts behind him. I was mesmerized by it, for it didn't merely reflect what was before it, but was a veritable window into the amorphous depths of space. I saw on its surface a starlit nebula of many colors, all the while confused about how I could be seeing such a thing so clearly through what appeared otherwise to be a simple silver-framed mirror. A few wrought iron candelabra were arrayed along the pavilion's margins, and atop their candles danced otherworldly flames that I fancied were the color of lightning. In another world, I perhaps would have called them beautiful, but in that moment they were, to me, horribly redolent of the brooding star. They evoked all the undesirable feelings of helplessness and nausea that I would associate with the violet light in the sky, only on a smaller scale. It was in their sickly glow that I noticed a noose curled up beneath the cot. The figure's shallow breathing was his only movement. At this point, I began to lose my nerve. What with the uncomfortable silence and the eldritch appearance of all that I was beholding, I checked my pocket watch once more. 20 minutes remained. 15 were required just to make it back home, leaving me with hardly 5 minutes to spare. What could I hope to accomplish in 5 minutes? I wondered. When no answer came to mind, I released the entrance flap and turned my back on the pavilion. It was then that I heard a cold and hollow voice call out in a strange whisper from the tent behind me. Father. I was stopped in my tracks. Father, he said again, his weary call betraying both elation and despair as well as it could. I returned to the tent, this time sauntering all the way in and finding myself face to face with the odd being. His head was no longer buried in the spidery embrace of his pale fingers, though his face was still wholly obscured by hood and shadow. His breath was visible in the frigid air and leaked eerily from where his mouth ought to have been. I've been waiting lifetimes for you, Father. His voice was now incredibly quiet and difficult to interpret. I'm not your... I tried to interrupt, but he kept speaking. You would think immortality would lead one to higher heights, but nay, it has only led me to this half-life. I have yearned for a feeling of joy such as that which your arrival has provided me, a joy I thought I could only experience in the presence of the brooding star itself. A shiver crawled down my spine as he uttered those words, and a morbid curiosity proceeded to overtake me swiftly and inexplicably, a curiosity the likes of which I had never experienced prior. This led me to ask, what do you know of the brooding star, and how could you possibly know anything about it? In the past, I had treated with skepticism the legends that the star was some kind of maleficent intelligence that probed the nightmares of hapless victims, apparently in search of something, like a demon seeking a corpse to possess. Yet there was no denying that it was more than just a queer light with unnerving properties. Hi, Maria, it's good to see you. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. We're just reading a pretty Lovecraftian story that... I mean, there's nothing to see, Maria. I'm just sitting here. I'm just reading a story from the internet. But if we do any... oh my gosh, I lost my leg. Just a sec. Well, if we do some... there we go. My leg's back. If we do some Man in the Suit later, you can definitely join for that. But until then, I hope you stick around, enjoy the story. But if not, that's okay too. Alright, let's see, where were we? Ah, here we are. It speaks to me, the being said. For that privilege, I gave up the ability to speak to it, for it does not like to be challenged, but by the ignorant. I gave up my humanity, my face, for this miserable existence, for the opportunity to, what was it? Bring order to chaos. He let out a subhuman sigh. So long have I carried out this dead life that my own desires have been nearly overshadowed by the androgynous dark, the chaotic light, As the being descended into a paroxysm of mad mumbling, shivering, and whimpering, I became repulsed by him, even though I now subconsciously thought of him as more than just a being. He was a messenger, a prophet, an oracle. But surely not of holy influence or example. He was, at the time, the most unholy creature I ever saw. And yet there was also pity amid my repulsion. I shouldn't be here, I said in a slight panic. There's nothing for me here. I'm sorry, I just have to. You want to know its true name, the oracle interjected. I can sense your desire. Before I could tell him otherwise, he profaned my ears and my soul with a distorted utterance that I dare say no mortal man could have been physically able to repeat. It was the inevitable appellation of the brooding star, the dread signature of an alien presence hopelessly beyond human comprehension. The noise awakened entirely new senses in me, inundating my consciousness with indescribably offensive extrasensory stimuli, a feeling I would compare to being roused from a dead sleep, having never experienced wakefulness before by the most nightmarish banshee imaginable. Derpy, never try to learn an eldritch being's name. Yeah, it's very good advice that I hope you all follow. Never try to learn more about the eldritch beings. It's never good. That was when I knew I had stumbled upon something my species, or anything endemic to the third dimension more accurately, was never meant to know. I had been exposed to an evil that confirmed one thing in my eyes. My little white planet had been wholly forsaken by God, left to the mercy of things even he would not dare confront. "Good day," I shouted deliriously, backpedaling towards the entrance so as to make my escape. "No," the oracle screeched, lurching onto his feet. 'Twas a screech much like that of a barn owl, and slightly reminiscent of the wailing of a mountain lion, both of which I had heard in allegedly antique recordings. "Our interests are mutual, Father. We both want to put an end to this chaos. I cannot do it without you. Don't you know?" "What do you want with me?" I managed to say. I could have bolted that moment, but a strangling fear made me anxious about resisting. "I want you to summon the brooding star, that he may consume this corrupted world and restore the cosmic balance. You will be rewarded beyond your loftiest dreams for this deed, Father, believe me." "Brayden, your species, so there are more cat girls. Oh my gosh. Yes, but I'm the only astral cat girl that also is a cricket." "It's good to see you, Brayden. I hope you've had a good day so far." I nearly lost my grip on reason when I heard him mention the end of the world a second time. It was my desire to see the earth destroyed, and now it appeared fate was on my side. This crazed oracle seemed to be the opportunity I had been seeking all along. "And what of my son?" I queried, forgetting momentarily that the oracle had illusions about his relationship to me. "What will become of him?" The oracle stared soundlessly in answer, and I felt his unseen eyes glaring at me from beneath his hood. Let's trying to position myself a little better here so that I don't stick into the couch too much. "Brayden, you have been having a good day? That's good to hear. Cherry got her headset and you're happy. Aw, that's really nice. I'm glad she got it. Let's see. Yeah, this Well, yeah, this is a good enough spot. Sorry, y'all should know by now how indecisive I can be. Alright, let's continue. Where was I? Trying in vain to consider all the possible ways this scenario could unfold, I examined as many of the thoughts reeling inside my head as I could. Finally, I asked, what must I do? Kill me, he begged in a hoarse whisper. Kill me. That was enough. I couldn't deal with this deranged creature any more. Fate be damned, I hastily passed back into the starlit night and oriented myself towards the direction of home, withdrawing my pocket watch without thought. To my shock, time had all but run out. 1 minute remained. I let out an unrestrained curse. Had that much time really passed? I might have completely lost touch with time while under the influence of the brooding star's foul name. I realized, or perhaps a temporal storm made its way past me without me knowing. Panic shot through me. If I was to end up dead, regardless of my next move, what choice did I have but to turn back and acquiesce to the Oracle's mad request? With that, I drew my switchblade and steeled myself for what I thought was about to occur, but nothing could have prepared me for what actually did occur. My hot, stale breath made me dizzy as it collected in my poorly ventilated gas mask. Yet, it didn't prevent me from storming into the pavilion and taking a successful stab at the Oracle's jugular. As he fell back onto the rusty cot, so too did his hood fall back. I instinctively looked away, for I beheld for a millisecond his grotesque, inhumane face. As I cowered, I noticed that my knife and sleeve were stained with blood that was black as tar, not red as I would expect. I heard an airy cackle erupt from the Oracle, no doubt the product of a newly damaged voice box and a long demented mind. Having made an oath to myself to put an end to this thing's pathetic life, I closed my eyes and stabbed savagely at the Oracle's face and neck too many times to count. I felt the projectile spurting out of unnaturally cold and viscous blood with every blow. Out of breath, I finally ceased my attack and opened my eyes with caution. His face was now obscured with his own inky bodily fluids, and thus slightly less frightening, but still more revolting than anything I had seen before it. He lay there gurgling with each breath, mere, voiceless air bubbling out of his facial orifices, until he wheezed for the last time and went limp as a beheaded snake. The violet candles mysteriously extinguished themselves upon his death, darkening the already dark area, and the wondrous triangular-looking glass ceased to be wondrous, appearing now to be nothing more than a conventional mirror, spattered with a very much unconventional substance. A sudden gale beat violently against the canvas walls outside. "What have I done?" I mumbled to myself. Derpy. Okay, good. I thought for a second the MC wasn't going to kill the Oracle even after being told of its torturous existence. I mean, in stories like this, you never know what, unforeseen circumstances could come from any action, but yeah, I don't know. I think I would want to kill the being, But if it was as, like, uncomfortable to be around as the narrator says, I don't know if I'd be brave enough to. But, you know, who knows? Let's see how well or how poorly this decision turns out for him. I made my way outside and looked around, noticing immediately that the brooding star was nowhere to be seen, seemingly extinguished or relocated. How its light managed to disappear so quickly was beyond me. Oh, thanks for joining, Cherry Blossom Cutie. It's good to have you in the astral plane. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far and, enjoying the story. I hope you're having a good day. Feel free to chat if you want to, or lurk if you'd rather do that. However you want to enjoy the stream, but thank you for being here. Where was I? Oh. Brooding star was nowhere to be found. How its light managed to disappear so quickly was beyond me. For the theory of relativity, or a flawed interpretation of it at least, was not alien to me. Then again, if there was any place the ultimate speed limit of the universe might be broken, it would have to be around that blasted plot of space-time whence I came. My pocket watch proceeded to ring stridently, heralding a wave of panic and presaging my doom. Death was now inevitable, though I had a seeming choice of how I would end. Radiation poisoning, chemical poisoning, blood loss, or perhaps hypothermia. Before I could ponder my options deeply, the scorching sun peeked over the horizon. I raised my arm to shield my eyes from the harsh twilight which put me on my knees, knowing deep down that its harmful rays were indeed harming me. But the terrible luminosity was short-lived, for something exponentially more vile soon eclipsed the fiery orb from below and stifled its light. The moment I lowered my arm, I regretted everything. Every decision leading up to that moment, and every minute that I continued to live. Blinding in its horror, a great tentacled mass rose up from the horizon, an indubitable destroyer of worlds, spreading like a cancer across the crimson sky. There was no sunrise to speak of anymore, but a hellrise, a welling up of unadulterated unnaturalness that could have only originated from the lowest, coldest, darkest spheres of existence. The writhing mass was a storm in its own right. As I look back upon those distorted and nauseating memories, I recall flashes of lightning occurring in the hollows of its colossal tangled body. But above all, it was an abomination. Everything about it an insult to the world it now loomed above. I dare say no being, God or otherwise, would be capable of forgiving such a heinous monstrosity for its crime of mere existence. Nor would any God choose to protect his creation from its insane wrath at so late a stage. For surely anything it laid its multitudinous eyes and appendages upon would be instantly and forever tainted. A deep, foul moaning soon filled the air, evoking thoughts of a million tormented souls wailing desperately. This sent me to the ground, where I shook uncontrollably in a fetal position. The experience made me welcome death, and thus I removed my mask and allowed the noxious air to fill my lungs. My eyes, although shut at this point, detected darkness enveloping me on all sides. Such was the end of my corporeal existence, and the beginning of something far more odious than I could have ever imagined. And that's the end of part 1. I don't remember how many parts there are, but it looks like we're maybe about halfway done with the story. But I'm gonna take a quick little hydration break, and then we will jump into part 2. How are you guys liking the story so far? I'm a little more into it than I expected to be. I don't know what exactly I was expecting, but the further into it we get, the more I'm enjoying it and curious to see where it goes. Derpy, let's getting the Eldritch atmosphere right so far. Very much so. I really like that it doesn't, like, it explains a lot, but it very much gives us just enough while still being like, I can't describe this, it's just too awful. Because that's like, one of the hallmarks of Lovecraftian horror is, yeah, it's too horrible to behold. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I hope you all are too. All right. Part 2. My soul, for lack of a better word, lived through the cataclysm. While I suspect my body's fate was to be digested in the cavernous depths of the brooding star, I found it difficult to ponder how this could be, how I could be conscious without resorting to the most horrible mental images, those depicting my brain's tissues interwoven with the star's charred, cancerous tendrils, its signals flowing through my exposed nervous system, and thus subjecting me to its mysterious will, as well as providing me with sensory input, forming a contrived and illusory reality. The clarity with which this idea presented itself to me was disturbing, to say the least. I would fain say the star spoke to me, but I think it would be more accurate to say I suddenly knew things that were previously unknown to me. A multiplicity of strange and obscure facts, some too heinous to dwell on. I knew now that the brooding star was never a star, but only appeared to be one by virtue of how it reflected the sun's light. An illusion much like that which the planetary bodies played on me as a child. Its true form was always that of that chaotic jumble of malignant limbs curling and coiling wickedly in the vacuum of space as though it were a virus in a vast protoplasm, changing shape so as to efficiently absorb energy from the stars. I also knew that the oracle I murdered was of great significance in the eyes of the star. Significance of the sort you might expect a god to regard his chosen prophet with. This fact made me afraid to open my eyes. knowing that I may have assassinated the right hand to the aphotic throne and angered the tenebrous monarch itself. Indeed, there appeared to be a monarchy of sorts holding this accursed dimension together. The living celestial body at the head of this monarchy, the writhing scourge whose colloquial name has never been more than a feeble concession to the inadequacy of language, was so much older and greater than mankind as to gaze down upon us with indifference and cruelty, like a child upon ants. Perhaps we have always been depraved monsters to the ants, while we thought ourselves righteous and just. Such were my musings in the darkness. I can't tell you how long it took me to finally open my eyes, but I can recall quite clearly that the happening that melted my fear away. A raindrop struck my forehead. My eyes shot open. By the heavens, the oracle spoke the truth, I marveled, utterly dumbfounded. I believed at that moment I had been rewarded beyond my loftiest dreams, for I lay in a grassy field under a partly cloudy azure sky that cried tears of joy. It was an ideal that exceeded my personal definition of paradise. None of the ungodly things circulating in my head mattered anymore. I made excuses to shoo them away, calling them mere meaningless aberrations, and giving credence to the radical possibility that the brooding star was not wholly malign. As I stood up, I saw a green hill before me, on top of which was quite possibly the most beautiful tree ever conceived of, its green leaves even greener than the rich vegetation around them. I threw myself bodily up the hill for such love of what I was seeing. What splendid, fantastical verdure! I had heard stories of the color green, a color too fresh and genial for the corrupted land I hailed from. But to see it with my own eyes, I could not put the feeling into words if the eternal fate of my soul depended on it. From atop the hill, I could see a small hamlet of 7 or 8 slate-roofed buildings, as well as the rickety windmill watching over it like a silent guardian. I leaned on the tree at the center of this hill and looked up. Apples, so many apples, bright red and seductively appetizing. I reached out with a trembling hand and almost reverential care, plucked one from the nearest bough, and took a goodly bite from its crisp flesh. Regret followed. The fruit was shockingly and unbearably bitter. Nay, it was something else entirely. Something worse. Something that seemed to trigger every safety reflex in my body. Having spit out the foreign substance and dropped the apple on the ground, I saw that it was black and tainted inside. This sight and the spell of dry heaves and violent gagging that overtook me immediately led me to conclude that the fruit was evil in the absolute. Of how long it took me to recover exactly, I'm not aware, but it must have been at least an hour. What does the fruit of this land say of the land itself? The ground that feeds this damnable tree, I thought. As I lay there with my back against the grass, my mind began to return to places I never thought it would visit again. the sky darkened in proportion to the darkening of my thoughts, thus losing its heavenly blueness. I realized that although the sky behaved as it would if the sun were setting, there was no sun in sight, and no longer a single cloud behind which it could be hiding. My despondent mind then filled with thoughts of my son. What fate could have befallen him, I wondered. Prior to the end of my physical life, I doubted that there could be a worse fate than living on Earth. A world I assume was completely destroyed. It was my choice to destroy the world, and while I consider it a terrible mistake for my part, I cannot speak for my son. I know nothing of how he feels, or if he even feels at all, and likely never will know. It soon occurred to me that there was hope, however meager, in the little hamlet I saw from the hilltop. This hope was enough to bring me shakily to my feet and direct my eyes toward the buildings in the distance. I noticed a certain unearthliness in the settlement that I failed to notice before. Notably, the windmill rotated with an eerie slowness that elicited vertiginous sensations if I stared at it too long. I headed thither out of desperation, and the closer I came to said windmill, the more keenly aware I was of the unpleasant crookedness of it. The stilts that made up its frame reminded me of an amalgamation of wooden skeletons clinging to each other. When I found myself past the corroded iron gate and amid the hamlet's constituent buildings, I swept the area with my eyes in search of life or anything else of interest, a practice I perfected during my many earthbound nights of yesterlife. From what I could see, there was nothing but blackness behind the windows and blackness at the bottom of the well, which marked the center of the settlement. It was seemingly a ghost town, a place I knew deep down was incapable of fulfilling any hopes of mine. Nevertheless, I resolved to check each building about me for, such has been the theme of my existence. I've never known exactly what to look for, or if there was ever anything worth seeking to begin with. The first house I entered all but begged me to leave. I was half choked by the wall of musty air that greeted me, which was undoubtedly a byproduct of the black spots I saw eating away at the mildewy rugs and wood plank walls. Had not the twilight illuminated much of the place through the single window in the parlor, I'm sure I would have been in pitch darkness. For that is what I found in the peripheral rooms and closets. Darkness so thick I should have suffocated in it. Nothing useful was found. The next handful of buildings I checked, which included an abandoned apothecary's shop and a cobweb-infested shed among other more unclassifiable structures, were hardly more welcoming. I fancied I descried, or discreet, I'm not sure how to pronounce that word honestly, the vague outline of a multi-armed, barely human body decaying neath a sinister pile of dust. But I decided it could have been an illusion, for my imagination grew stranger as the shadows grew longer. The last dwelling I scoured was the largest in the settlement, full of rooms that I could not discern the purpose of, as well as a few that were indubitably used for torturous pursuits, judging by the dried bloodstains and spiked draconian contraptions. It was with great unease that I found a child's bedroom in that same house. Scattered across the floor were children's toys that, upon close inspection, were revealed to be abused beyond recognition by their owners. Wooden horses were dismembered, porcelain dolls divested of their eyes, all seemingly in sacrifice to a special doll who sat in a dark corner with supernumerous. I've never seen that word before. Supernumerary limbs attached to its body, and black eyeballs peering out of the many artificial holes in its face. I knew at once that this doll was a vulgar effigy of the brooding star, not at all accurate, but indicative of a desperate attempt on the part of its maker to please the star and be freed from its influence. This was inexplicably clear to me, just as a number of other unearthly things were when I awoke to this realm. Around the effigy's neck was a thin chain, and dangling from that chain was a skeleton key. It wasn't until I approached the dark corner cautiously and tore the key from its chain that I realized how repulsive a key could be. Its wickedly gnarled loops and twists seemed impossibly irreverent to the laws of geometry, causing a haunting paranoia to addle my brain, made worse by the countless eyes of that unnatural effigy staring psychotically at me from the darkness. Though everything about the key was unpleasant, I felt as though I would regret leaving it behind, so I slipped it into my pocket in hope that I needn't catch a glimpse of it ever again. As I turned around and headed for the door, my stride was quickened by a peculiar scuttling noise of unknown provenance. I was feeling vulnerable and claustrophobic from the tenebrous atmosphere already, but that shuddersome sound sent me over the edge. I had to get out of there. And get out of there I did. Returning to the open air was not as comforting as you would expect, for there was an uncomfortable absence of fresh air. Specifically, there seemed to be no air at all, only a profound emptiness that refused to console me. Ooh, thank you, Derpy. Definition. Supernumerary. That's a hard one for me to say. Supernumerary. I don't know that. Present in excess of the normal or requisite number. Yep, that's apparently a real word. Yeah, and it's a word, all right. I like it. I just can't. I have trouble pronouncing it. Let's see. Lost my spot. There we are. By now, night had fallen entirely, along with my spirits. I couldn't decide which fate would be worse, being all alone in this unwelcoming land, or sharing it with the unwholesome beings of the scuttling, many-limbed sort my imagination hinted at. Another dichotomy of fates presented itself in me, madness or sanity. Which would be most preferable? To be at the mercy of real horrors and keep my head, or face illusory ones and lose it? Unfortunately, I would have no say in the matter, and thus the pondering proved pointless. Wandering aimlessly about the center square of the hamlet, I was bedeviled by a faint, indecipherable voices. I was on the verge of mistaking them for the wind. That is, until I remembered that there was no wind. I put my ear to the ground many times in many places, hoping to locate the source of these voices, to no avail. Eventually, I noticed that the voices grew more hasty and demonic each time I walked past the central well, and so I approached it. It was obvious to me that this well was the source of the whispers. I put my hands on its somewhat slimy stone and peered down it as I did when I first passed through the gates of the ghost town. This time with more intention. I once again saw only blackness, and I smelled metallic vapors, reminiscent of blood, wafting up from the depths. That was when I heard it. "Father," the well whispered. Could it be, I wondered? Could it be my son, trapped in the depths of this wretched place? Or could it be the delusional oracle, who ought to be dead? How is this happening? How is this happening? "Son!" I shouted into the well. There was no comprehensible response, only disembodied whispers growing more impatient. The deathly vapors began to affect me in strange ways, making me feel dizzy and listless. A sudden weakness overtook me and forced me to use the well's rim for support. To my panic, this weakness grew worse until, after a minute or so, I was all but paralyzed and entirely deprived of balance, leaving me at the mercy of gravity, who was not merciful, and saw to it that I slid helplessly into the well's gaping maw. There was a splash and a number of crunching sensations as I collided with the floor. Indeed, it felt as though I had broken every bone in my body. I opened my eyes to the pool of water I lay prostrate in, which was quite shallow, yet dark as the river Styx was said to be. I lifted my head up, despite the pain of doing so, and made a feeble attempt at surveying my surroundings. The optical sense aside, I already knew I was in some kind of dank chamber by the reverberation and humidity alone. It was with sight that I discerned the rest of the nature of said chamber, and its nature was loathsome beyond words. Cages environed me like the cells of a panopticon, to which I was the central eye. Creatures of indescribable repugnance convulsed impatiently in these cages, teeth chattering, limbs shaking, their rotted larynxes giving vent to insane desires now that they sensed vulnerable prey in their midst. The abhorrent, torturous wailing, I knew, would never end until I released these blasphemous horrors from their squalid enclosures to do with me what they would. I recognized at once the holes in the cage's locks, and my hand all but drew itself toward the twisted key in my pocket, that I might subject myself willingly to the lesser of two ghastly evils. And that's the end of part 2. Now all we have left is the epilogue. Before we do that, though, time for another hydration break. Y'all make sure you're staying hydrated as well. We don't want you to get dehydrated now. Yeah, I feel like even with the epilogue, I'm gonna be left really wanting more, honestly. Like, I really like that they're not giving us too much, and we're very much left with what the heck was any of that, you know? Like, we have absolutely zero answers, at least at this point. I don't think the epilogue is gonna change any of that, but you know, I very much want to read more. Scarlet. Yay, while waiting for all the downloading stuff, you got both lowercase and capital M drawn for your custom font that you're working on for stream schedules. That's great, Scarlet. I'm glad you're making progress. Can't wait to see it when it's done. Gotta shift my legs. Alright. Oh, and the epilogue is not too long, so we're getting close to the end here. Alright. Epilogue. This reality bears all the hallmarks of a great and terrible thought occurring in a great and terrible machine. The biological machine that is the brooding star. But what of the reality I previously inhabited? Was it merely another thought in another machine? No matter. Philosophy will not save me, for I have been hexed with upwards of 1,000 curses. One of them increasing the potency of my memory 100-fold. I would have considered that a boon in my previous life, but here and now it causes me great agony. Every 7 years, I am forced by these things, my savage masters, to relive the horrors of my past, to novelize my trauma, that their pursuits of torture and torment may be immortalized and regarded with favor by the brooding star. All of my trials, the tainted apple, the harrowing effigy, the noxious well, the others I have written of elsewhere. All of it was by design, formulated by the underlings of a veritable interstellar god. I reside on my knees in a room furnished with a stone altar upon which stacks of gray, sickly vellum, a vitreous inkwell, and a raven quill rest. There are innumerable shelves surrounding me on all sides, shelves upon which the works of my misfortunes lie by the score. My painful memories become more lucid with every pen stroke. Made worse by the inevitable fact that my future will be just as dreadful, or worse, than the days before me. Dread specters patrol the halls tirelessly. Even now, there must be one leering at me from the shadows. I know it. The curses prevent me from falling into a comfortable insanity as the beings about me have, leaving me gazing longingly over the edge of dementia, every second of every moment, silently begging for oblivion. Give me all of your rainy days, O ancient ones, and I'll give you all of my demon-haunted nights. The end. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that. The epilogue, I don't know. It was okay. Mostly I enjoyed the bulk of the story, but yeah, I really liked that one. What do you guys think, though? I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Seemed like you were all maybe listening, at least not being overly chatty, which, you know, is totally fine. But I kind of took it as you guys just, you know, focused on listening. Let's see, Scarlet. Oh, wait. Derpy. Well, there was something about Earth being destroyed, and earlier Here we're gonna move. There we go. It's a little more comfortable. Something about Earth being destroyed, and earlier it mentioned his white planet, so that makes you think humanity is living on the moon now. That's an interesting thought. My thought was that it had to do with like the sun burning out or something, because I don't know much about like astronomy and stuff, but I think like when the star dies and turns into like a white dwarf or whatever, like it doesn't give off as, or one of the other dwarfs, like it doesn't give off as much heat, but it gives off more radiation or something. Don't quote me on that by any means. I could totally be wrong. That just sounds kind of familiar. At the very least, the Brooding star seems to have like come and maybe taken the place of the sun, like overpowered it, fed on it, and so we get like excessive radiation during the day when the sun is actually out, and then it's just incredibly cold when the sun's not out. Either way, though, like, it's definitely post-apocalyptic and could very well be on the moon, could very well not even be in our solar system, depending on, like, what has happened in, the time between present for us and present for them. Scarlet, you have to go back and do capitals for a few and lowercase for a few. Actually, most on the lowercase. Well, it sounds like you made some good progress, though. Derpy, it was interesting, kind of like a classic hero's journey kind of story, but it's eldritch in nature, so there's no and that's an interesting way to look at it, Derpy. You're quite right, though. Like, just off the top of my head, it did seem to have a lot of the hero's journey elements. Like, it had the crossing the threshold. It had the, Oracle playing like the old man who guides. It's been forever since I learned about that stuff, but I do think if we did like an analysis lining up the two, we could very much pin this as a hero's journey story. Hi, Bamboozleman. Hope you liked the story. The narrator went on about the weather and an eldritch god for a bit, so you think someone fed Pudge tuna. Oh my gosh. That's definitely what happened. Pudge definitely got fed tuna. That's why the world ended the way it did. Derpy, by that you mean like parts where there's notable moments of tests of will? Yeah, like there's a very specific format from who was it? Like John Campbell or someone like that, and he laid out like the elements of a hero's journey story, and it had like some very specific things, but there's so many different stories that follow that structure that you wouldn't even necessarily expect to be a hero's journey story. But yeah, this definitely seemed to have all those elements, and the elements of like the old epics, whether it was Gilgamesh or the Odyssey, all those sorts of things. But that brings us to, let's see, we have about half an hour to 40 minutes, depending on, how long we spend on how late we go. What do you guys want to do? We could read another creepypasta. We could read some SCP articles, or we could watch some Man in the Suit analog horror videos. I don't know that I particularly have a you want SCP, Brayden? Okay. That's easy enough to do. I actually even have the Foundation website. Okay, so you want either one, Brayden, SCP or analog horror? Do you have a preference for one or the other? Oh, you said it too late. Okay, so your vote is for analog, is that right, Brayden? Oh, if no one else, oh, yeah, SCP or analog, leaning towards SCP. Okay, so we're kind of tied. Analog is a good choice. Okay, so it seems like we're leaning more towards analog. That being the case, we'll go ahead and go with that, but we'll make next Sunday exclusively SCP, because I think if we don't get too distracted, which, it's me, so no promises, we should probably be able to finish the last few episodes of Man in the Suit. Although, I don't know, maybe some of them are particularly long. So next week, what we could do is we'll focus on, it'll just be like SCP Sunday next week. We'll read some SCP articles for the first part, and then I'm sure I can find a good SCP analog horror thing that we could watch afterwards. So let's go with that. We'll go finish Man in the Suit. Scarlet was trying to find the one that inspired nyctophobia, fear of dark, earlier. That being the project you were temporarily a story. Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioning that, Scarlet. It was SCP inspired. That's very cool. Yeah, if you can find that, send it my way, and I'll make sure we read it next week. I don't remember who suggested it. I think it was Derpy. I think you suggested it. I do still have SCP-2718 saved, so we'll read that one next week as well. I guess it could have been Nate or someone else who suggested that one, but I'm pretty sure it was Derpy. All right, so let's go to our analog world. You may have to ask questions of old teammates if they remember Yeah, go for it. Whatever you need to do. Don't stress about it too much, though. All right, let's oh my gosh, I got all cozy in this couch. All right. Maria, you're alive. Oh my gosh, you've been summoned by the analog horror. There. Hello. I need to unanchor you all. That's not what I want to do. Where did I... Oh yeah, I stuffed it down here. Oh my gosh. I moved in the game thinking it was going to help me move in real life. That did not work. All right, let me get myself situated. I need to move my chair back. Oh my gosh, I'm walking through the couch. I'm ruining your immersion. I'm a horrible streamer. What the heck? Okay, camera. Hello. I haven't given you any head pats or face traces today, my word. All right, we got this screen down here, which we don't really need that one anymore. Yes, yeah, Maria, we're doing analog horror now. I just need to get to the world, and then you're free to join. All right, so got the world. My, so many screens. I never realized just like what it was. Yeah, Maria, you can definitely join. I never realized how different it looks on this side of the camera while streaming compared to, like, you know, what you watch as a viewer. It's been really fun to, you know, become more familiar with it. There we are, analog nights. We are going to do an invite room join. All right. Yeah, Derpy, certainly you can join. I need my burb. Got to give head pats to something. I should probably take another quick hydration break. I'm getting a little more used to doing the narrations. Sometimes I do get myself a little too worked up and kind of speak from the wrong place of my throat, but I'm getting better at it. Oh my gosh, Maria, you don't need to spam me with invites. I'll invite you. I promise. All right, let's get you guys back in here. Where's the camera? Oh, you're behind my screen. You can't hide from me. All right, Maria, I'm accepting. You can come. Jeez, that kid, so impatient. And I actually have to accept all of them because there's probably one from Derpy in here. Oh my goodness, Maria. How many did you... Oh, there's Derpy. How many did you send, Maria? You better not still be sending them, you little brat. Okay, skip that. We're just gonna get rid of this second screen because... Oh. Because we don't need the second one. Oh, did I? No, I totally got rid of the wrong screen. All right. That's better. Okay, get rid of this one. I see you guys here. Sorry, Scarlett, I saw you made some messages. Give me just a second. Okay, you have an odd question. You keep your camera in ghost mode. Can anyone else see it? Not to my knowledge. I don't think that should be the case. Hi, Maria. Like, it should just be visible to you, although I think if people like pull up their quick menu, I think they can see the red lines still from where your camera is, like the XYZ axes. Scarlett, like last Monday, could anyone else see when you had it in? Oh, on your stream, maybe. I don't remember. If I did, it didn't stand out to me. I don't think I could see it. Oh, thank you, Derpy. Derpy brought some popcorn. Take some popcorn, chat. No, not too much. You gotta save some for the rest of us. Jeez. Oh, my mic's muted in game. No, I shouldn't be muted, Maria. My mouth's moving. Do you have me... Where even are you? That kid, she just gets around. But yeah, my mic is... Oh my gosh, did you? That kid is a menace, I tell ya. Alright, but you guys in chat, you can hear me. Oh my god, Maria, I did not mean you get around. Not in that capacity. Oh my god. Did Steam VR break? Sometimes it doesn't let me hear any audio. Are you talking about right now? Can you hear me? Oh, this is aimed at Maria. Okay. Brayden, I have a beautiful voice, very calming. Thank you. I'm still not entirely confident with it, but I'm glad you guys enjoy it. Anyway, let's pop in the next tape. Oh my gosh, I don't remember what. Oh, did you have my volume at like completely turned down? Okay. Know your quest. Oh. Didn't work, you guess? I don't know. Well, I don't. Do you remember where we left off in Man in the Suit, Maria? Cause I kind of don't. There's a lot of tapes here, and I don't remember. I think we only had like 3 left, right? No? I mean, I could go back to my old stream. It's been a while since we watched, though. Are you just guessing? I think we were further than that. Because we definitely saw the dorsal extraction. And I don't remember if we saw this Anguirus suit, though. Let's start with Anguirus suit, because I know for sure we saw dorsal extraction. And if Anguirus suit is familiar, we'll go from there. We did watch dorsal extraction. We definitely watched dorsal extraction. But now you got me doubting myself. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's pop in dorsal extraction real quick. And we'll see if dorsal extraction is familiar. Gotta turn up the volume. Okay. Oh, yeah, I need to change this. They didn't look professional. They looked sloppy. Okay, that's good, right? What is this, by the way? You haven't attended too many of this stream. So, Scarlet, what this is, oh my gosh, Maria, dork. What this is an analog horror where, here, I need to make another pin so I can talk to you guys. We don't want this one anchored, but we want it smoothed. Look at me. Okay, so what the Man in the Suit is, for those of you who haven't kept up with this, is it's a series of analog horror where the Godzilla suits have, like, people have been mutating inside them. So, like, the first one we saw, the guy playing Godzilla was acting weird, and oh my god, are you guys okay? Don't do that, Maria. Don't headbutt chat. Oh, your nose is, it'll be fine. Just put some ice on it. Anyway, yeah, people are mutating inside the Godzilla suits, and it seems to be able to be infected, like when the man in the Godzilla suit. Oh, here you go. Sip, sip, sip. Oh, there was nothing in there, Maria. It's steaming, though. So yeah, it's kind of just that. Honestly, the earlier episodes were a lot better than the more recent ones, but I'm hoping it'll pick up again. How much candy have you had, Maria? Oh my gosh, Maria, you're gonna gatekeep? What's Maria's Avi? You love it? It's adorable. Oh yeah, it's a very cute Avi. Here, let me turn off the look at me. It makes it hard to point at her. I assume it's a public one, right, Maria? Yeah? I don't know where she got it, though. Oh my gosh, stop it. You're so violent. But yeah, Maria doesn't need candy. This is... You haven't had candy, right? She might have had candy. Anyway. Let's, Ooh, yes, good. Thank you, Derpy, for explaining it so concisely. But yeah, let's pop into this one. I'm pretty sure we've seen this one, but let's see. All right. Turn on the mirror. And switch back to our other pin. There, you can see me. It's by... Oh, Brayden. Her avatar is by Corn, so go to Corn's avatar world and you should be able to find it if you want to do anything with it. Okay. I think we're good to get ourselves started now. Alright, let's all pop a squat and let's see if this is something actually familiar or not. I'm pretty sure we saw this one. Is Derpy the Corvid? Yes, Derpy is our little crow. He's so cute. Come over here, Burb. I need to give you head pats. Okay. Yeah, we saw this, didn't we? Unless it's... Yeah, because this had the pictures I was very disappointed with. Oh! Yeah, wait, did we see this? Derpy, did we see this? My gosh, I took too long. 2 minutes of the being filled. Okay, now I don't remember. Maybe we should just go from where Maria wanted to. Alright, let's go with your choice, Maria. This is why we let Maria handle this, I guess. I'm a terrible streamer. I need to keep organized. Oh, what's this? See, this stuff looks more familiar. Yeah, that looks familiar. So maybe we did watch this. Yeah, we definitely saw that picture. Yeah, let's continue from here, because I remember seeing that picture. Okay, Scarlet reminds you of an Avi Doki bird you temporarily used? Nice. Yeah, this one has a lot of different options. Like, there's a lot of variations, but Crow is canon Derpy for me. Oh, I don't know who Doki Bird is. Oh, is this the new one, Maria? Oh my gosh, you can't even see me. It's too bright. Okay, let's, there. Now you can see me a little better. I wasn't really reading. I hope I didn't miss too much. Wait, did we see this one? I think we were watching this one too. Oh my gosh, this is such a mess. You were confused at first. This one. Yeah, I think we actually saw this one too, but we can rewatch this. Then he started to explain. Selen Tatsuki's indie VTuber name is Dokiberg. Yeah, I'm not very up to date on VTubers. They've tried their best with wanting to comply with Angira. Yeah, I do remember this. Okay. Snapped a photo. My gosh, I've said it before, but body horror is just like amazing. Like, I don't know, it's just so, it resonates with me, I guess. But I was watching an essay not too long ago about how something about Gojira battling. Yes, the moth. This was when they hinted at Mothra. Yes, Mothra. You'll quiet down so not to distract me too much. Don't worry, I distract myself, Scarlet. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So in this video essay, it was talking about how like body horror has very queer and particularly trans themes because of its parallels with did we watch this one too? We at least started to. Maybe we stopped. But yeah, because of body horror's parallels with like puberty, there's just a lot of things that line up. Yes, we did see this. I remember the escaped man in the suit, so let's skip this one. Because that's the one where like the kid saw Godzilla and he's like, nah, that ain't Godzilla. That thing did not look like Godzilla. My dance was cute, Brayden. Thank you. All right. Oh, wait. What's this one called, Maria? Derpy will get a new tape eventually. Yeah, we have to catch up sometime. We didn't finish. Oh, it's a coffee cup. Oh, what's happening? Oh, this is the Mothra suit incident? Told me that something went wrong. Uh-oh. What condition is the man in the suit in? So they just like slathered him with some glue? Oh. It's like so disturbing that there's like, you know, someone who used to be human under there, and who knows how like aware they still are. I think that's what has always been one of the things that stuck with me about body horror, was that it's an unwilling participant, like someone who remembers a better life than what they have, forced to live less than. Oh no. So is Mothra still gonna, like, become sentient? Oh my gosh, Mothra is so lifelike, guys. Oh no. This is it. Mothra's gonna come alive. Oh no. Oh, if they could. Geez, that person's really brave. Like, if they could do winged Mothra with, as a puppet, like, why couldn't they do the larvas as a puppet? Oh no, why would you do that? Don't invite your parents. Oh my gosh. This is going downhill so quickly. No, it's not. Oh my gosh. Derpy. Yeah, right. The Mothra puppet was very realistic. Oh my gosh. Yes, show us. We haven't seen one of these for too long. Come on, show us the mutation. It's coming. Oh, this is different. Oh my gosh. So that's what it looks like when he charges forward. Oh my gosh. This diagram really helps me, like, put myself there. Oh my gosh. The way they just throw the parents in. Oh no. Is that it? No, there's still more. No. I mean, at least they don't need to stick around to see their daughter, like, turn into a gross Mothra larva. Although I think the Mothra larvas are a little cute. No, what are they gonna do? Oh no, he escaped again? Or was this, like, back when he escaped the first time? No more taxes, at least? Oh my god. I guess that's something. Yeah, because these, all of these tapes aren't in chronological order. Spy was in the team to get the man in the suit. So it's kind of hard to keep track of like what happens when sometimes, unless you're actively looking at the years. Just wandering around and looking at nature. La la la. As if you... Oh my gosh, he just wants to be free. He doesn't want to be captive. He doesn't want to live at the circus anymore. Derpy, this is clearly a very high budget and universe documentary. The man in the suit was surrounded. Oh no. How's the man in the suit ever gonna escape? Oh. Well, that's new. That hasn't happened before. Oh wait, is he gonna use his breath? No, he's peeing. Oh my gosh, he's peeing. Oh, no, that's fire. Ew. Vomited red boil. Oh my gosh, that's so gross. I love that, though. I love that it wasn't just, like, him, like, doing his atomic breath or anything. Like, oh my god. That's so nasty. I love it. He's developing his atomic breath. I mean, yeah, it's kind of sad though, like, he was just like, oh my god, I don't have any other choice, I have to do this, and then he just vomits his own blood. Ooh, hot spring. Shin Godzilla but smaller. Yeah, he has done a lot of things that are Shin Godzilla. Derpy, wonder if the creator recorded a garden hose for the vomit sound effect. Honestly, could have been. Left quickly. Oh my gosh, just... You guys gotta put the man in the suit out of his misery. Although, like, he doesn't seem to be too like, he seems to be fine with his existence. Just, he doesn't want to be in captivity. This is what they expected. Oh my gosh, is it the Mothra suit finally? Yes, this is what we've been waiting for, guys. Two more videos after Maria. This is what they found. What did they found? No, show us. Oh my god. No. For real? They're not gonna show us? Oh. Is it an egg? It's like a cocoon, I think. Yes. Mothra larva's gonna turn into actual Mothra. You have to put a link for the last one? Okay. They haven't updated it yet. So this is the next one. Okay, so the next one is 7 updates from 1964. Okay. Oh, and I think I've said it before, but the person who this one's hard to read. Several updates on what had happened after the Mothra incident. 7 important things happened during that. Oh, it looks a little clearer on stream, it looks like, than in world. Okay. It's picking up again after that last video. Went through a slump for a bit. You know, just day-to-day affairs. Who's the spy again? We don't know who the spy is, Derpy. He's just someone who works for Toho that's feeding information. Oh my gosh, I love the cocoon. I'm disappointed they haven't done much with Anguirus. Anguirus is kind of just like, yeah, same thing as Godzilla, but, you know, not as interesting. Very agitated. Oh my gosh. I love Anguirus, so that hurts Maria, but I can't argue with that. That's just what Anguirus is. Ooh. So this is like the same thing as the lava puddle, but different, if I read it correctly. Ooh. Well, that's nasty. Looks like a cow pie. Gotten so that they needed people in hazmat suits. Oh my gosh. I mean, you guys need to do so much more than that. Like, you can't just shut down the area. Can't just keep using this monster for your movies. What the heck? Ew, an eyeball in the puddle? Oh my gosh. They better show us the eye in the puddle. I want to see the eye in the puddle. Come on. Ah, oh, no, weren't successful. Darn. Yeah, they're still making money. Cotton mail from... Oh my god. Oh! Maria, you're probably right. It's gonna be Hetera. Oh my gosh. I love that. I always loved Hetera. I don't know if it's still accurate, but Hetera at least used to have the highest confirmed kill count in any Godzilla movie. Oh my gosh, I cannot read that. I have been worried about you. Something supposed... Yeah. That was, like, I'm okay with reading cursive, but that was a little tough to read. Scarlett, you need to watch Godzilla stuff. Oh, yeah, Godzilla stuff is great. The smallest child's name in the drawing was censored, Derpy. Yeah, a lot of Godzilla monsters don't get, the same mainstream attention as, like, the big ones. Oh my gosh, is it gonna be Hedorah? This time I'm gonna try and intervene. Oh my gosh, it's gotta be Hedorah. Because Hedorah was in the 70s. Not for a third time. Yeah, and you don't want to... You do not want a live Hedorah going around. But yeah, Scarlet, I totally... Oh, okay, Ghidorah. I mean, that makes sense. Hedorah will probably just... Hedorah will probably come about independently of all this stuff. But yeah, Scarlet, if you ever want to watch some Godzilla movies, I'm totally down for it. I love Godzilla so much. Oh my gosh, Derpy, was that you? It looked like a crow. Oh my gosh. I hope I don't get copyright stuff for this part. I actually had to cut part of one of my previous streams where I watched The Man in the Suit because it was during the one where it showed Godzilla vs. Kong. No spoilers. Oh my gosh. Are you talking about you being in the movie? Might want to be careful. Japanese lawyers are ruthless. Yeah, like, I cut out the snippet that got the copyright check when I was uploading it to YouTube, so, you know, can't help what was already streamed, but the VOD isn't around anymore. Just the censored version on YouTube. No, redacted. Oh, it's fine. It wasn't a very long part. It was just a small snippet that I had to cut out. Why would you use it? Right? They're not clever, Derpy. Derpy says, why would you use a suit of any kind after already having 3 actual monsters to deal with? But yeah, they're seeing dollar bills, well, yen, I guess, signs. Scarlet, you have another friend who wants to watch an anime. Yeah, no rush by any means. Just, you know, anytime you want to watch some Godzilla, I'm down for it. I'm sure Maria would be too. What are we looking at? Is that a gun? It looks like a gun. Oh, he's gonna try and take him out. I mean, agreed, but the guy's vomiting lava blood. Who knows what he'll do next? Who knows if he even can be killed? I mean, they did talk about Toho putting that paste and crap on him, so it's probably a mixture of Godzilla changing on his own and Toho, like, trying to cover it up. Yeah, that sounds right. Corporate arrogance. Yeah, I agree, Derpy. I think it'll take a lot more than a shot. Oh my gosh, Rodan! Looks like they're using just a puppet for Rodan, though, so... But they do use a suit for Rodan when he's on the ground. I mean, that's what you guys think. Oh no. What did they forget about? Tearing the heads off or something? No! Oh my god. Why would you leave the head vulnerable? Why would you think that's a good plan? Oh my gosh. Is he gonna vomit blood in his mouth? No, he's doing the blood. He's gonna vomit. Oh my gosh, they know what's happening. Why didn't they warn the Ghidorah actor? Like, don't get too close to him when he starts vibrating. Oh my gosh, is he gonna vomit the blood? Oh my god, that looks very goofy. He's spewing on the head though. What is with that Godzilla head? No, oh my god, that's so nasty. I can oh, like a mama bird feeding their chick. That's so gross, Derpy. Yeah, can you imagine how just terrifying and painful that would be? Like you're stuck in that suit, you're not getting out of there, and then it just starts pouring down on you. Oh my god. Yeah, the series really picked up again. It had that like lull in the middle of it, but it swings back up. Coming in like a real mafioso. Shotgun in a guitar case. Wait, is this the spy talking or our narrator? Yeah, it's gotta be the narrator. He's never fired? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, we're looking at it from a top-down view. I was very confused what we were looking at for a second. That's it? Oh, no, there's still more. Oh my gosh, we get video. Oh my gosh, show us, show us. No, steady the camera. Focus. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Come on. No! No! Turn the camera around! my god, come on. Show us. Oh. Oh, did he blow his head off? Oh my god, he did it. I mean, maybe. Is he alive or dead? Is the head gonna grow back? Oh my gosh, it grew back. Derby, what happened with the Mothra actors' parents being killed on set? They probably covered it up, or maybe there was no family left to like be concerned with. Oh my gosh, you guys, we have gone so late. We have one more after this, is that right, Maria? Two more, because you have to put in one. Oh. Oh, okay. Is that it? Oh, that's it. So what more do we have, Maria? The narrator was an American. MITs didn't like that. Somehow he sent a fake termination letter. Oh, man in the suit. How would the man in the suit have sent that letter? You don't know? Yeah, that's totally fair. How many more tapes do we have, or was that the last? See, okay, that was the last. We're caught up until they upload another one, which really works out because my trackers are done. Oh, that's the current. My leg tracker's dead. I'm limping, y'all. We gotta say our goodbyes. Guess he's more conscious than he's letting out. Yeah, Derpy, he's definitely more aware and more capable. Or, because they talked about, like, there was kind of like a cult surrounding the man in the suit at the beginning, remember? Like, it sounded like there were other people who wanted this to happen. So maybe they're still like the human workers trying to do the man in the suit's bidding, basically. He's just like the leader. Oh my gosh, I'm crippled. My leg. And in the descriptions of the video, he actually loves being the suit, Maria. Yeah, that's the impression I got from earlier things, because he like, it sounded like he voluntarily compared it to being a god. Yeah, and my thought was, because there was some stuff about, like, you know, with the hating the Americans and stuff, I wondered if it was part of a revenge type deal. But I think it's getting to be, whoops, there we go. Yeah, because of World War II. Let's pull you guys over here, because I gotta I gotta say my goodbyes before I completely lose all my limbs, because I'm already down a leg. Maria still oh my gosh, I'm not gonna say that on stream. But yeah, it was good hanging out with you all. I hope you enjoyed the story and the man in the suit. These ones were so much better than the last ones we've been watching. I was getting worried. I was kind of I was a little bored with some of the ones in the middle, but these ones, I really liked these ones. They were a lot of fun. The vomiting lava blood, that was chef's kiss. Anyway, oh yeah, right. Tomorrow for stream, it'll be the usual Monday time, but we're gonna do some more horror worlds on stream. Scarlett's gonna join me, and we're hoping to have Luna join as well, so it'll be the same people. I don't know if Slow will join yet. I haven't asked her yet. I think she'd probably be willing if she's enabled. Maria, because of the fake termination letter, he had a spy in Toho. That's how we got the information. Yeah, that part I got, that we had the spy in Toho. But yeah, as far as I know, it'll be you and me, Scarlett, and then I don't know if I can say likely Luna, but she definitely wants to try to join. And then there might be another couple people I might see if they join us as well. Anyway, Derpy, yeah, it was fun. The story was pretty interesting, and there was actually pretty decent effects in this. Yeah, it was very hit and miss for me. Oh my gosh, I know I'm bad at goodbyes, but I gotta. Oh my gosh, this kid never lets me forget my flaws. But yeah, the effects for me were very hit and miss. Sometimes they were like, oh, that looks really good, and other times it's like, okay, that's maybe a little more goofy than good, but I still enjoy it. Overall, I've liked it so far. Do you know, Maria, if they're planning on any more? Like, it seems like the story is still going. Yeah, it's a single person working on it, but it's someone by the name of Unknowingly. I make sure to, credit them in every YouTube upload of the VOD I do. But yeah, if you ever want to watch them yourself, just look at Unknowingly's channel and you can find them. Only recent. Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess he's been doing it on his phone until recently he upgraded to a PC, so I'm sure things will get a lot better. Scarlett, Slow wasn't there the entire time, but they were useful when they were present for distracting the mom. No, Slow is amazing. I love Slow. Hence the video part that we're all CG. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for reminding me about that, Scarlett, because I hadn't mentioned that. So yeah, we'll do a couple of horror worlds tomorrow, and then we'll pick up on Wednesday again with Phoenix Wright and Ebe on Friday, and that's our plan for the week. Oh, right. Tuesday, we might have a special short stream. I'm not sure if I'll do it yet because I also work that day. And I like to have a day in between streams, but we might do one on Tuesday because I got you guys a little birthday present, because it'll be my birthday on Tuesday, so I got you a present. So yeah, we might do a little short stream on Tuesday. Need to set a new follower goal. I do. The problem is this isn't like Twitch has like the official count in the what's it called, the creator dashboard or whatever. It consistently shows me one follower behind. I wonder if it's because like maybe one of the accounts uses the same email, so it only counts it as one or something like that. But anyway, yeah, even though I have 50 followers, if you count, Twitch doesn't seem to be, counting it as such. Anyway, that's kind of on our agenda. Oh, it says I have 51 now? So I'm actually at 50? All right. That works for me. If that's the case, we might be eligible for affiliate. I'll have to take a look at that. Anyway, I'll let you guys know tomorrow all this stuff. Goodbye. Thank you for joining. I love you all. Be good to each other. Thank you. Where are you? Maria and Derpy for joining. It's been a lot of fun. I love hanging out with you guys. Okay, that's it. Oh, wait. Yeah. No more messages. We're good. Goodbye. Love you. We're gone.